Hello and welcome to the week 9 video lecture. Because the first part of week 9 is peer review, I didn't record a lecture because we've done peer review twice over already and it's the same concept. And we'll do one more to close out the semester, but you should kind of know what you're doing for that and be aware that the first post is due at a particular date, and then the subsequent posts are due at a later date for you to get all the 15 points. So we're going to focus on the second part of week 9, the more important part, and that's finalizing your draft for the research summary. So clicking on the understanding concepts pulls up things you've probably seen from this section before, like possible ways to get proofreading help, and then other just thoughts on ethics in professional communication, which your e-text touches on, but to briefly remind you of the relevance of ethics and professional communication in relation to this project. So there's always what is sort of okay by societal standards, and then there's what is the rule for that type of thing, or will this make me look bad if I say this or do this? In terms of ethics in the workplace, when you're putting something out there, you're taking responsibility for what you've typed or what you've said, and you're also taking responsibility to how you're representing certain groups. And for this project, you are representing certain groups or neighborhoods or cities because of your impacted population. I'm going to pull up an example here. So from this student sample, you can see they were talking about Florida and depicting some tweets from there and how they feel about the Even Playing Field Act. And they did choose to zoom in on certain tweets or like a certain sentiment, and they could have related maybe a tweet that someone was cursing or just kind of going a little bit crazy or foaming at the mouth, and they didn't do that because maybe they also wanted to give some credibility or just some shedding light on that impacted population and how they feel without giving the wrong impression of them, if that makes sense. So when you're depicting a community or you're depicting survey results, inflating what is being said or percentages, or how survey respondents, what they typed in there, or however you're going to guesstimate the 58% versus the 41%, what that could mean. You have to think about the community that you're making assumptions about and how that can be put together by your audience and how that might be put together by an objective audience that looks at that and they're like, ooh, that doesn't read right. Or the way that you referred to maybe the topic of another report is like homeless people, and instead of homeless people, could you refer to them in a different way, like people without homes, or I don't know other ways you can do it, but how can you not be so patronizing and or possibly offensive and or skewing or inflating results or what was said because you want to get a certain point across, or you're not realizing the point you could be making based on perception. So you should be aware of how you're representing the impacted population, how you're representing Your information in the research summary in general, it's called a research summary. You want to make it, or you want to give the appearance that you researched and that you're representing the information how it is and not how you would like it to be, or how you think it should be represented. You're laying it out there because your boss at either a fictional business or an actual business asked you to put together this research summary, and here it is. Here's the thing and what's happening with it, particularly for this specific community. Zooming out to the assignments, there's an extra credit assignment. You plan revisions for your final draft, but before you do any revisions for your final draft, you're thinking, because this is more of a textual based assignment, I need to show my changes with a different color and or strike through for deletions, just like the assignment guidelines say. And for project 1, you already did this, but for project 3, you need to do this again. For project 4, like project 2, it's more visual in nature and showing your changes for the final draft. I'm not interested in it. I'm just interested in you making your changes. For project 3, I want to see your changes. So from this student sample, I can see they made their changes in red. They used strike through for stuff they were going to delete. They included works cited page. They may have included, yes, they included in-text citations. So stuff you should have done with the rough draft, but they really made sure to include that stuff because, and they, not only that, but they were concerned with design. So project 2 was all about design, and project 3 is about the research and a little bit about design. Can you make it look like a professional document without worrying about, oh, I need to have flourishes and it needs to be a different font and I need to make this, the headers a different color. You're not really concerned about that, but you are thinking, does it look like a memo at least? Like at the top, this is a nice kind of clear and professional way to make it look like a memo or whatever memo template they used. And the headers throughout to indicate that it's a memo are helpful. They did include pictorial representations of their survey, which you don't have to do, but it helps for credibility and it helps let me know that you did a survey. If you did a survey and you just want to mention stats from the survey, that's okay too. But pictures, again, bolster your credibility. Here's another example in which, and I've already showed this one, but a student made changes with red. They also added comments, which you don't have to do, but they did that because they said they would want to get rid of these types of headers based on their imagined audience. And that's something to think about. They have their works cited page and one more in which they're thinking about, I need to show the changes and my deletions. I need to have my figure incorporated nicely with the flow of the document. But I'm also thinking about, does this look like a memo without making it look too flowery or not just more of that text-based report, but it still can have some design features in mind. But because this is a final draft, I'm looking more closely at proofreading, at brevity, say what you mean, and get there in a quicker amount of time. Did you incorporate a figure if needed and you captioned it? Did you mention your primary research openly, or am I while I'm scanning it, I can't even tell that you use primary research, which is a big problem, but you should have already addressed that in your rough draft. And do you have a specific impacted population and not just, you know, all women or all businesses, which does not tell me you've researched a specific location or a business at least, like Microsoft and how they treat women or whatever your topic was. Because I'm going to show you examples that didn't worry about design, and you can see the difference. Particularly if I open them next to each other. Let's do that. So we have a student that revised and worried about design, and then a student who revised somewhat, a little bit. And the worry about design is not prevalent. You can see how it looks kind of just like a student essay versus a professional document. And you can see the difference in attention to proofreading, revision. And here, at least this person, they added a little more. They added what was needed to meet the assignment guidelines. So not really thinking about proofreading or approving it, just, oh, I didn't really finish it for the rough draft, so I'm going to add it, and that's okay. But they still also did not really think about design. So design and revision proofreading are necessary for you to get a good grade on this assignment while also meeting all of the assignment guidelines as noted in the as noted in the assignment guidelines. Ooh, there's so much pollen around my house. Okay. Anyway, wow. So you review the peer review comments, you review the collective feedback file, you look at your Likert score for each element of your research summary on USF Rights, and then you review your rough draft by yourself without looking at any feedback. And you should do this in stages because revising, proofreading, it's not paint by numbers. It's not, they said I need to fix this and this and this, and then I'm done. You need to fix or think about fixing everything you got comments on, but that people that are giving you comments, they're not your editors, they're not going to fix everything for you. And that's where reviewing the CFF and reviewing the draft by yourself, maybe printing it out and reading it, is going to be helpful. And that's a good practice for any text-based report essay that you turn in for this class or other classes. So you're submitting it to USF Rights by March 14th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. And you can review the closeout video if you want to. I don't care if you do. After this stage, I will be emailing different students, and I'll create the project groups that same day. Right now, there's nothing. We'll probably have about 5 or 6 project groups heading into project 4. And when I do pick them, I'm just going to do it here and then I'll fix it later. But once I set the project groups, it'll look somewhat like the groups you've seen before, but one person will be set as the leader. You'll see a little group leader icon, and you'll know theirs was the winning research summary, and you should go to that person for, you know, background information, or, hey, you know about the problem, what kind of solution ideas do you have, Sabrina? And then Sabrina would lay it out, and then Cameron and Lydia would be like, oh, okay, but here, now that we know about the problem, we have some other ideas for solutions, because project 4 is about working with your group to generate solutions. And that's where we'll start going later after week 9. But during week 9 or towards the end of week 9, I will be reaching out to what I consider unique topics for the research summaries, and like the 5 or 6 topics that I feel are actionable topics and can be researched by a group or can be solved by a group. That's it for this week, and I'll see you for week 10. Bye-bye.